Hello, welcome to Creative Women. This is the second of our series. I'm delighted that we have Carol Gaskin with us in the studio tonight, who is generously taking time out of her studio to be with us. It's pre-Christmas time. She's been working very hard on pottery and other ceramic forms for Christmas sales, but was generous to be here tonight. Carol has played a very important role here in the Kootenays. She has been president and is currently president of the Kootenay Boundary Artisans Alliance, and she is now representing the craftspeople and artisans in the Kootenays for the BC Craftsmen Association in Vancouver, so she goes to board meetings. And knowing Carol, she's articulate and has a lot of scope, so she probably is representing a lot of concerns for rural craftspeople in Vancouver, not just in the Kootenays, but for all rural BC. I'm sure she's playing that role. Carol and I just met for coffee on Baker Street, and we're beginning to talk a little bit about her background, how she got into ceramics, how she came and what progression she went through to her present lifestyle. And I hope you find her as interesting as I do. Whenever I see Carol, I feel up. She's always very enthusiastic and always there. So let's go back to talking about how you got to be where you are.
Well, I had said to Lynn that, in a sense, the lifestyle that I chose when I came up here to live in the country and to learn how to grow a garden and build houses for ourselves and so on, I really didn't see that that was going to end up with me being a potter now. I didn't see in any way that it was going in that direction. And yet I really, clay had interested me way back, maybe 1964. Somebody let me throw a piece on the wheel. Mm-hmm. And I was in school at the time, and I remember I wrote an essay on it. It was so exciting that it was my best essay even, because I was so excited about the pot, and it was just one pot and one try, you know. And of course, you always have beginner's luck on the wheel. You do it, and you think, oh, now I can do it. It's so easy. And it was around 1973, about 5 years after we came here, that my daughter went to live with her dad in Tennessee. And as I was saying to Lynn, I felt I felt really quite a loss at that time.
I can imagine.
And I don't know that that directly affected my wanting then to work on something creative in myself. But sort of coming in from that, along with it, was the fact that I finally had a sense of my own body, that I could do things, that I could use a hammer. I remember that first year when we moved up here, I learned so many things. I wrote my brother a 20-page letter, and it just went on and on and on and on and on about all the things I had learned, not verbal things, physical things. And as I look back on it, I think that meshed with that certain loss. Yes, what?
When you start on a new skill, did you read about it first?
Oh, no. Norman White was living down from our place at the time, and I said, Norman, why don't you show me how to throw on the wheel? I mean, at that point, I'd forgotten anything I might have learned that day, if I learned anything at all the first time. And so he showed me how to throw on the wheel, and then it took me about 3 years to really do it so that I felt comfortable with it. I mean, I didn't immediately suddenly know how to do it at all.
But when you were building your house and beginning to be real physical, and a window needed to be put in, or some task that needed to be done, how did you problem solve?
Oh, I asked people. It was always people help. And it still is for me. All the way along, my work has not come out of schooling, but somewhere in the process, I started collecting books on it. I don't remember when that happened, but I can remember Norman teaching me that on the wheel, and then me going, but I need more. And then we did fire the kiln together, and I learned a lot about it, you know, glazing and firing from him. But somewhere in there, I needed more books. I needed more to learn from books. And because there wasn't then anything like what we have now in the way of information. There just wasn't. And
in 73?
No, not for me. Up there in Winlaw, working there and trying to get out. I mean, I didn't come to town but once a week, and I didn't know who anybody was at all, not at all. And so somewhere in there, somebody loaned me a book by Mary Carolyn Richards. Oh. One of my favorite books. Yeah, really.
Fred Waugh talks about bringing her up here. Wouldn't that be wonderful to bring her up here?
That's thrilling to me.
I think so too.
Love it.
And she's very good friends of good friends. I mean, I'm just saying, I think it's entirely possible.
We could make that happen. I'll call Fred. That's great. Yeah. Because she's just, that book just was, it's my Bible. It's really very special. 2 books, actually, she's written, Centering and Crossing Point.
When I read Centering, I got embarrassed because it was so personal. I would shut the page and I would just go, oh, that's so personal, it's not for me, and then I'd have to go back. And she's that open. It is, it's very personal, that's right. And it isn't a book, well, you know that. It's not a book about just making pots or centering on the wheel by any means. And somewhere along the way, I found Paulus's book, Paulus Berenson's book, Finding One's Way with Clay. And that literally, I had thrown on the wheel, I had done all that throwing, thinking I will always be a potter on the wheel. And somebody asked me once whether I'd ever hand build, and I just, no way. What is hand building? And then I picked up his book and I started looking through it and I started pinching pots, and it was just the most thrilling thing in the world to me. And I would say that Paulus, of any person, had more effect on my work personally, just my work, than any other person. Have you taken his workshops?
Well, I met him at Penland. It was just very special, very special. And actually, he's now doing stitchery. He's not a potter anymore.
I've heard that, yeah.
And we've kept in contact since then. A lot of wonderful things are happening with him. So that was an additional, it opened up a whole world that hand building did for me. I can't imagine now that I was only a potter on the wheel. And somewhere in that, you see, I didn't learn you're supposed to learn to draw, and then, and sort of, and then you throw pots, and then, and I didn't do that. It's been, since 1973, me working. And at first, all the forms were very contained, even the hand-built forms. Everything was like this. And I do this purposely because for me, working with clay is, in a sense, it's saying things about me and my body and me as an emotional person in relationship. And I was doing this all the time. And all of the early birch vases are like this. And they literally, they began within a few years to start to move out. And actually that was that came partly, I think must have come partly from being at Penland and realizing that I was okay. That my work was okay. I went to that wonderful 100 Years of Ceramics at the Renwick Museum. And I went through there and I thought, as I was coming home from there, flying on the plane back home, I thought, I'm not weird. I'm not weird. It's all right. As a matter of fact, I can get more outrageous, In my work, people are saying much more outrageous things than I am in clay. I was just thrilled, and I think since then the movement in the clay has begun to be more important to me. And as a matter of fact, it's very difficult for me to do very closed, really closed pieces that don't have any motion. And that's true even in the seed forms. The seed forms started as a very closed form. One of the ones I brought back from Penland is an egg, and it's totally closed with hollow on the inside. And now all the seed forms have to be moving, or I'm not happy with them.
So what you're saying is that the clay form is analogous, that's not the right word,
that's
to the body, to your own physical, how you're feeling about yourself.
Yes, and relationship, and some days, the birch vases now come in several cylinders. They come in 1s, 2s, 3s, families? 5s, families, etc. And I notice very, very specifically that I can only work within the singles some days. And it's really, I find it fascinating. A friend visited me this summer and she said, I love them all, but I want 2 singles. And I said, well, of course.
Why?
She's very single right
Oh,
now.
she
She's
that's
really
what she would
making
want. Right.
a statement
Right.
about who she is as a
Separate
individual.
human being, yeah.
And she needed that, and I need that sometimes. I need to say, these are my boundaries.
I'd like to have you talk about maybe Finding One's Way with Clay, or other books that you think have been really instrumental to you. Because I'd like to have you somehow substantiate that idea that whatever you're doing with that clay is receptive to however you are that day, which I think is what you're saying.
Well, I could go first. One of the things that Paulus, talks about in that book is sitting even with your eyes closed and sitting very quietly with a ball of clay in your hand. And he's so wonderful. I mean, I think he really did do this a lot. He would sit, and at the beginning of a day, he would meditate with the clay in his hand for a moment and open it with his eyes closed. And he would know the clay, and he would know himself differently because of it. And he would give workshops in that way and do that in that way. Well, I don't do that. Part of me says, that would be wonderful. Really what I do is go up in the studio and I work. And I don't sit down in this wonderful Japanese meditative. I wish I did. I have this fantasy that someday when I'm older, I will do those things. I do meditate, but I don't do it with a ball of clay in my hand. It's not that sort of thing. But I guess I was going to say earlier, the other major book for me was I didn't draw. For years I didn't draw at all. And then I found that book, Right Brain, Drawing from the Right Brain by Betty Edwards. And I thought, well, that would be good for me. I need to put on paper those forms first. It would, especially the seeds. And so I did the book from beginning to end.
You did all the exercises.
I did all the exercises. I nearly got to take her workshop.
You're the only person I've ever known that have done all of them. Everyone talks about the book, but I don't know anyone who did all the exercises.
Right. Well, I am that way when a book is really important to me. Even the journal workshop book. I couldn't at the time afford to go to the journal workshop, but I wanted that information, so I did the book from beginning to end. And I don't see, I'd want to go, but when do I take the time to do that? And it gets
there's
too
a million things to
complicated.
do.
There's other things to do. But the drawing book made an enormous difference to me. And I know now that if I want an image of something, I can draw it. And I don't have there's no fear anymore about being able to take up. And no way I could have done that in 1973.
How do your drawings, I guess with pencil or paper or whatever,
pencil and paper, right,
compare to the ceramic forms?
They've taught me how to begin to translate that, not just the idea of a seed, but a real seed. And I was saying to someone at the show last weekend that now, this winter, what I would like to do, can you talk about these things and will they still happen? I hope so. What I would like to do this winter is work with seeds and draw them. Say you have an apple seed. It's smaller than that. Right?
I see the pupil of your eye. You just talk.
And make it this big, right? It's suddenly an entirely different form, and it's very different. And I have quite a strong memory of almonds when I was a kid. We had almonds in Southern California. My dad had a little orchard, one tree of each. And I remember that almond tree with just the most, I used to climb up in it. And the almonds there's 4 layers to an almond. We get the white with the brown on it, right? And then there's the outside layer and the crunchy part. And then there's a green sort of furry part. Well, I would love to draw that. I'm going to go down in about a week and see if a friend will pick almonds for me and send me some. All the layers, all of it. Because that, you see, it has to be an almond too, because that's me and that's my childhood and that's a memory pattern, and that I can work from.
I want to just give you a suggestion. Maybe your friend could do that, but I don't think we use public relations people in industries enough. Why don't you write the California Almond Association?
Is there one?
Ask them to send you like 30 or 40 different varieties or something. I'm just saying they would love to do it, and we don't plug in enough to industry. That's
a great idea.
But I think it's possible, and they would be delighted to do it.
Sure, yeah. I get a box of almonds, not to eat. I would really love to see, even 5 of them would be
Well, I'm just, okay.
Yeah, yeah, good idea.
You have some poems here. Is that too much of a jump to go right into some poems?
Well, it may be.
Okay.
I could talk about I don't think of myself, when somebody says, what do you do? I think of myself as a potter. And yet, once in a while, I have to say words about what it is that I'm doing. Recently, I started working on some platters. It's real. Here's vertical
real
forms,
different. I mean,
right? Yeah.
I don't know you for platters. That sounds great.
It's just I had to do that. But anyway, here's the vertical forms, which have been for a long time now, and then seeds, which are certainly more three-dimensional. And now, for some reason, it's as if I need a flat surface to work on. And recently, I was driving home from a wonderful evening with a lot of friends, and feeling that wonderful knittedness that is it's so important to me as a person. That's part of what I work from. It was like it was feeding in more energy for work. And I imagined doing a woven pot.
When you said knitted, I thought woven. Yes. Terrific.
And I went home and I tried it. Well, it's very difficult because they don't want to stay together. I mean, all those, yeah. And so I compromised a little bit, and I did a platter with woven strands separate and then on it, with them sort of doing this, moving around a bit on it so that they're stretched. And those worked. There's maybe 4. It's an entirely new form for me, and I'm so excited by it. Well, while I was working on it, to go back around, just words kept coming up. Network and web and lattice and that support system, that friendship, that we need that to grow, and that it's like a net that catches you when you need some help.
It's true.
And there was a list of words that came out of that day, and I had to have a pen over there and a piece of paper there and the clay over here and run back and forth and write it down. Now that's a good day. That's a really good day.
That's when everything's going.
That's when everything's working. That doesn't happen all the time, but that's part of what happens with a new form. And now I'm thinking in terms of what would happen if the layered part was like this, and the plat, it becomes non-functional, and that's
That's scary.
personal. Yeah, that's a little scary. But I've done that before. I don't make an enormous amount of work that's non-functional, but I do once in a while. I just go, oh, come on.
Do it.
It's not that weird. So somewhere in there is words, because I've always loved words. And I used to actually put words on the bottom of my pieces, and I am now on the platters. It's an indication of when they're really special, as they get written on when they're still warm.
Oh, everybody who's got your pots are going to go look for words.
Where's the words on the pot, right?
Yeah.
But the platters have that feeling to that. They're still so new that they're not perfect, and in a way that's better. Do you know what I mean?
Yes.
Things get a little
Right,
slick
right.
sometimes. And so the big birches have the same feeling to me. They're one of a kind, and they're very, in one way, hand building's all unique. In another way, the big ones, I don't make that many of them. And so I think about them in a personal way.
You have used the word weird twice tonight.
Oh, dear.
And this
Okay,
may
yeah.
not be relevant to you, and you can just say, let's not discuss it, or it's not relevant. But it's a question I have, so if it is relevant, continue, and if not, say, let's not do it. You said that after the Rinwick Museum of 100 years of ceramics, you came away saying, hey, I'm not weird, because you saw a lot of support for your ideas. And then you said, hey, when I was doing just now non-functional work, hey, I'm not weird again. Where do you think you got that association of non-functional and weird? Or is that, or do you think that's a local association?
Maybe. Part of it is that I didn't come to this with the history of California or North American art. I didn't know what I was doing here in my own personal way was in context with all of it, with what's happening on some level everywhere. I really had no idea. And so I saw myself just fiercely doing what I had to do in form, and that it was being appreciated, but that it was probably very just a personal appreciation. And finding out that one isn't really different in a big way. Yeah, weird. I've always been a bit different all the way along. I mean, what was I doing moving to with a community of people onto the land? I mean, all of that. I was never
Far
quite...
before it was fashionable.
Before, yes, right. And so one always has that question somehow.
Okay.
That is one okay? And I think it is local to some extent, but I think that it comes out of my own personal history. That I didn't think of myself as an artist. I never did. It's still hard to even think with those words sometimes, but now I'm beginning to realize that there's so much heart and so much that I'm working with that I'm not just, I just don't turn out 20 or 40 of something a day and think, well, this is my job. And
What a wonderful expression. There's so much heart. That's a great expression. Is a lot of support or community or network very important to you?
Mm-hmm. Extremely.
And can you talk about the success of what you've been doing out of your studio, the sale that you've been having like seasonally?
I'd say that that's improving all the time, and in a way that surprises me, and I think probably surprises craftspeople all over, that one can work and sell.
But maybe our viewers don't know what your sales are.
Right.
Maybe you could just say, and then they can look for it next spring.
Right, right. Well, for 3 years, Joan and I have done this Unfurlings, which is a painting and pottery show, and it's 2 weekends of the year out of the studio. And it means that people have to drive to my place instead of me packing up things. But the environment and the atmosphere are such that it provides people with a chance to see where I work, and it allows them to participate in that sort of environment for a while, and I think that matters to people.
Plus
and it has mattered.
A larger selection of work.
Well, then they get work that's directly it's literally hot out of the kiln. I mean, that's it's part of the excitement of it.
Hot potato.
Can I open it yet? That's important.
So
that's definitely
I know that you
important.
just got through with one sale for this year, so you can't
That's
project,
done.
but there will be another one to be looking for. Do you advertise it? So if anybody wanted to know,
It'll be advertised in the paper, and
Fine.
it'll be
Okay.
posters and so on.
Okay, good.
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay.
The poems, to go back to them, I think
I know you as being incredibly articulate with words, so I would like to really encourage you to do
should
that.
I try that?
I think it would be a treat.
Okay. I'll read a poem that comes from a dream that I had about 10 years ago. The earth had split there, sheer sides, at the bottom of the chasm, the body of a child. In that odd way that dreams shift, the earth tilted and I stepped my way down a sloping hillside, a towel turbaned round my wet hair. I balanced a tray precariously, reached the narrow valley floor, and the towel slid to the ground. A dark, disheveled figure slouched on the grass. She looked up as I brought her the offering. Her face has vanished in memory. Only her posture is left now, dark against the grass. She sent me away for more condiments for the curry. As I turned right to go, I glimpsed a woman draped in colors, quiet, contained. I watched her stirring in a bowl 2 stones, stirring with a leather lizard named Mowgli. She read me a poem from some ancient book. Lay your fear and grief on the table. Lay them on the table. Even now, my body remembers her arms around me, her lap, holding me as if peace were ever present, endless. Sounds of faint voices, silhouettes on the ridgeline. 3 women in organdy dresses, lavenders, greens, blues. A man dancing. Somehow, a damaged carousel, music, and lovely sounds of dancing.
Fairly full of images. Lots of
It was
images.
a very special dream, and the lizard comes from that dream. It has been part of my work since then.
So, I mean, we could get into a lot of, a lot of images. But that's really very moving.
It stayed as, it's interesting. I was saying to our futures group the other night, we talked about dreams. And I've taken segments of that dream and worked with them for even years, 2 or 3 years at a time, and then it's like putting them back, and then pulling another one out and putting it back. And so now I'm working on the carousel. I don't know. I also wondered about the platter. That the platter
Round
is
and
in
round.
the dream, right? And it goes round and round. It's 10 years later, I'm still working on that dream, and it's really, I don't know.
Okay,
I
that's
can-
incredible.
I
That's
can,
incredible.
I'm a mouse. I mean, I take things by bits in that sense of, I don't just
You
take
also
all
swallow a
of it.
lot, though. Do you not?
Yes, but then I digest it
Yeah.
somehow, because you could just take that dream and that would be the end of it,
Stone lizard.
That's where it comes
I
from.
got that that's where that comes from. And I really, even though I heard your poem, and I would like to read it again, but even though I heard it,
What does it mean? Do you remember the Jungle Books by Mowgli?
No, and in fact,
Oh,
Mowgli, I didn't even
Mowgli.
That wasn't a reference for me.
Okay, Mowgli was a boy who was raised by wolves, and Baloo the bear. And you should read it for your daughter.
Yes,
it's really
that's
special
great.
book
Yeah,
when she's a
I'm
little
glad you
older.
tell me, yeah.
Just So Stories. That Kipling wrote both.
Okay.
And they were read to me when I was quite young. Mowgli has the sense of having been a human, but raised with animals. And that sort of sense of that we don't integrate the body. I have not in my life felt fully integrated, body, mind, spirit, a sense of,
There are
we
a lot
don't.
of images
right.
out there.
Yeah, right. Model. Somebody model this.
That's okay, we can be
So I
frontiers.
want that, and I sense that that's part of what the dream is about, is that if fear and grief are set out in the open and dealt with,
On the
out
table.
in the open, on the table, that one begins to integrate one's animalness, creatureness, liveness, joyfulness, liveliness, vitality,
Feelings, lots of
with being intelligent and with being a human. And so that's my mental sorting out of that image. Mowgli was very, very important stories for me. My brother read them to me over and over and over again, and he was like, there was a freedom. He grew up with a panther. I mean,
A real one?
yeah, the stories, he was a boy who was, in the stories, he was raised by animals entirely. His parents
wait,
disappeared.
I heard you just say my brother grew
No,
up
no.
with a panther.
No.
And I'm going, oh, wait,
No.
I haven't talked about that. Because then it was, what did you grow up with? I'm sorry.
Right,
that's distracting.
no, the book, in the book,
Okay.
in that story. And
Were you
so
ever afraid of lizards?
some-
Is a lizard,
Oh, no,
was a fear?
I loved
Always
lizards.
loved them. What
We
about
had horned
snakes?
toads. I lived near the desert. San Bernardino was the desert. No, I liked them.
And snakes?
I don't mind them at all.
Spiders?
Don't mind them.
Oh, great.
I don't
Good
like
freedom.
black widows.
No, I don't either. I have to,
You
because
got to
of
watch
white
out for
dots.
them, right? I don't
No.
think they're very nice to you. So,
Okay, we have just like 1 more minute or something. Is there anything that you feel that to anybody out there that might be looking to you as a teacher, something that you might want to give that person? Or advice that you might share?
I would pass on something Kim Ondaatje said in her recent workshop. I thought her workshop was excellent for me, and that's another story entirely. But one of the things she said was that it took living a full life, and it took being yourself. I have lived in a partnership, but all the way along I've sensed that it was for me to be an individual. That for me to be an individual was what made a difference. For me to feel quite independent in a sense. And Eric, as my partner, has really encouraged that and not stood in the way of that. But that experiences, that you can't live a sort of contained life and have anything to say. And I wouldn't want to contain myself again.
Well, we
Matters.
just brushed so surfacely on your
all right,
character, but yes, we did all right. That you were wonderful. I'm so glad you're here, and I would like to encourage that maybe we do this again. Maybe people get more and more contact with you, because if anything, you're not a contained person. So
I'm
thank
glad.
you very much. Great.
It's really great to talk with you.
Oh,
Thank
you're
you.
wonderful. Thanks.